Well, what's up guys, and welcome back to ProjectTimeGarage and another tool review. Now, if you're a regular on my channel, you'll know that I don't do a lot of tool reviews, and Lord knows I get enough companies reaching out to me to do stuff. Everything from tools to camping supplies to cosmetics. Weird, but I digress. I turn most of those down because a lot of the stuff that that they offer to me just really isn't interesting to me. It doesn't stand out. But occasionally something will stand out enough that I'll review the product. I'll figure if it stands out to me, then you guys are my viewer base, and if you're watching me, you probably like the same things I like, so this will probably interest you too. So I do the review, take the product. That brings us to what we're reviewing today. This is the Thinkscan 689BT OBD2 scanner from ThinkCar. And what makes this thing stand out in my mind is that it has free updates forever. That's pretty huge for a bi-directional scanner that'll do ECU coding, because I also have this scanner. This was an insanely expensive scanner, like $2,000 plus a lot of extra stuff for add-ons. So I've got almost 3 in this thing, and I just did updates for it because it had expired, and the update was $1,250 for a year. That's expensive. So if you're a shade tree hobbyist kind of guy, like I basically am, then having that kind of scanner probably doesn't do you any good. I have a fleet of cars, both here and at my work, so kind of warrants having a big scanner like that. But here's the thing, I have a feeling that this scanner is going to do pretty much everything that the other scanner will, and the price point is not even in the same ballpark. So let's open it up and let me show you what this thing looks like. Obviously I've already opened it once, but everybody likes an unboxing video, right? So let's unbox. ThinkCar. Now, I'll keep this sitting right up here, product placement, because I'm a professional, as far as you know. All right. Uh-oh, there goes my professionalism. So, right out of the box, we can see that I have all kinds of stuff all over this. Let me wipe this off. Those are metal shavings. Metal shavings because it was laying on my workbench, and it's magnetic. This is the VCI, or the part that plugs into the car, and it's magnetic. It attaches to the back of the box, and it does a pretty good job. I mean, it won't completely hold it, but that ain't bad. You're not losing it. Like I said, I have a bunch of scan tools, and I've reviewed a bunch of them, but this one's pretty cool, guys. I mean, the fit and finish on this, it's pretty awesome. It's got a kickstand back here, or a steering wheel hanger thing, and even that, it's nice and tight and hard, and I don't know, they just did a great job. I mean, they really did. Pretty impressed. We haven't even gotten into the software part of it, and I'm kind of blown away with the software, if I'm being honest with it. Anyway, this thing, we'll get to the main unit here in a second. It comes with a cable for DoIP, because it supports DoIP. Comes with an Ethernet adapter, so if you need to, plug it into Ethernet. Also comes with an Ethernet cable, probably Cat 5, I'm assuming. Comes with a USB A to C. Several different options for power. A bag of silica gel. We're not supposed to eat this, just throwing that out there. And a wall wart that you probably won't use because it's an Android tablet and you'll just charge it USB. I don't know, at least I will. So anyway, let's Let's fire this thing up and let's look at the software on it, because that's what most people care about, is the software. So as far as major features on this thing goes, obviously it's a bidirectional scanner, which is nice because not only can it read information from your vehicle, it can also write information to your vehicle. It also supports ECU coding, so that's pretty large right there. It'll do AutoAuth, it'll do CAN-FD, and it'll do DoIP. The VCI, or Vehicle Connection Interface, on this one is Bluetooth. Like I said a minute ago, that is extremely nice because it means that you can plug this into the car and stand away from it or stand under the hood without having cables that are too short and all that. That's pretty nice. Actually, when I bought my Autel, it comes with a, it's called a J-Box. That is a big old box with honking wires that hook to it and all that to connect to the vehicle. But I spent the extra money on that one and bought a Bluetooth VCI, which was like, I want to say like 300 bucks or something like that, just for the Bluetooth VCI on my big scanner. So nice that they include it that way. This thing will also support additional devices like endoscope or oscilloscope, TPMS things. You can get those from ThinkCar and they'll integrate right with this. As far as other features of this, we'll have to fire it up to look at them, but I'm telling you, this is the fastest scanner at this price point I've ever seen. They did a really good job, I think, on the software and the layout. You'll see here in a minute. Plus, it features like a really big monkey man wearing a hat with a wrench, and who doesn't like that? So I think the next thing to do is let's get you in front of this device. Let's fire it up. Let's walk through some of the things that it can do. We'll look at the menu. Plus, I have a Bronco Sport sitting here with a check engine light. I mean, how convenient is that? So we'll get to put this thing, you know, to a real world test, see what's wrong with this wonderful vehicle. All right, so let's get started with this. First thing we'll do is we'll take the VCI and we'll go ahead and plug it into the car and we'll turn the ignition to the on position. Okay, we have that done. Let's go ahead and start up the machine. I'll put you over my shoulder and I'll also try to do a screen record. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna turn the blower off because it's on high, because it's hot. Well, here we are at the main screen. And before we do anything with this car back here, let's do a couple of things like setup wise. I'm gonna hit the 3 bars up here. I'm gonna scroll all the way to the bottom and I'm gonna go to settings. And you can click here and you can set up your Wi-Fi. So you would click add and you would get it on your Wi-Fi network. I've already done that, obviously. So we'll go back. The other thing I want to do is I want to enable the option for screen recorder because it'll make it really nice for you guys to be able to see this, not necessarily through the camera lens. So we'll turn that on and we'll see that that pops up and hovers and you can move that around with your finger and, you know, put it places that don't get in your way. The other thing you could do is turn on the photo album. Not really sure how much good photo album will do since this machine does not have a camera on it. That's one of the things that I noticed it doesn't have. There again, I've never used any of my scan tools camera anyway because I have a cell phone. Now that I have that going on, I'm gonna go ahead and hit record and this should let you guys see a little bit better on this screen. So I'm gonna go all the way back home, and when you get a new scanner, the first thing you're probably going to want to do after you get it on Wi-Fi is hit upgrade and enter. And you can see that I have a lot of updates here that can be done. And I'll tell you that I've had this scan tool now for a couple of weeks, and one of the first things I did when I got it out of the box was go and do an update. And everything updated, and I see that there are updates again already for other stuff. I'm gonna look through here and see if I see anything. Yeah, here's Ford. I'm on the latest version of Ford already, version 11.22. So that's good because I'm about to scan a Ford vehicle and I wanna be as current as possible when I do that. So you'll see that their updates are only for a few of them, so not that much. We can also go over here to maintenance at the top, and there's all kind of other maintenance things like adaptive front lighting and air suspension and all that are service related features that may or may not have updates. Again, in my case, I'm latest version, so I'm going to back out of this. Let's go back here again, and let's just go all the way back to the bottom, and we're going to go back to settings. This is where we came from. In the user section, you could go to customer management, and you could, like, for example, add a customer. So this is my daughter's car. I could add customer and say, you know, my daughter's Bronco Sport, and that way you can kind of go back and refer to those things later on. In this case, I'm not a shop, so I'm not going to do that. The other thing you can do is go into business information, and you could put, you know, your garage name, like ProjectTimeGarage. I could upload my little icon and address and phone number if you want to, if you're a shop. I'm not. Under Universal, we've got the brightness of the screen. And I'm going to try to turn that back down to about where it was. I've got volume, and you see how language is obscured. I can pull that down and get to that. My time zone is Central Time, and the screen off time is set to 5 minutes, so that's inactivity. I can also use 24-hour format or unit of measure metric. Customer Service Center, see that's turned on. And that's this little icon up here. I can turn that off, and he goes away, so that cleans up my screen. Other thing we're going to have in here is maintenance, where we can have remote assistance, or we can cast the screen like to a, if we have a TV screen up there, we could cast it to that. Or I could do clear data, restore factory settings, but the thing that I will use the most, I think, is USB connection mode. So if I turn that on, that allows me to take a USB cable and plug in here, and I can plug this thing into my laptop or my desktop computer, and I can download, for example, this screen recording that I'm doing here. I can pull that off. So that's pretty interesting. We have a system update down here also. This is kind of interesting. So I can check the system version. This is another thing I would recommend that you do, because this is the actual, I think, the underlying operating system. I don't know if it's the Android OS or if this is just the ThinkScan software. But anyway, I'm current, and there was an update when I first got it, so know that. Let's go ahead and go all the way back. This is the main screen, and you can, for example, in Diagnose, there are several things that are available to us. We can do like an auto search if we want to, you know, scan this car. I can do a diagnose, which basically means if I do this, I get to go in and choose Ford, 22, Bronco, and all that. And we can see up here also that we've got, you know, recent, American, European. We got all these different vehicle types. We'll go back. We'll go OBD. If you were to go to somewhere like O'Reilly and get, you know, a scan tool like this, this is just a basic OBD2 scanner. That means that this thing will only read basic information on the car. All of these modern vehicles have way more information that they can put out than what a code reader like this can read. So the basic OBD2 set is just some basic information, most of it relating to emissions controls. So if we want to really dig deep and see things like telematics and you know, nav stuff, anything that is specific to the vehicle that's deeper than OBD2, that's where a scan tool like, you know, this ThinkCar comes in really handy. So anyway, it can do OBD, standard OBD2 stuff. I can look history records, so things that I've previously diagnosed, I could go in there and look at it. Like once I scan this car, it'll show up in history and I can quickly pull that car back up. If I save a diagnostic report on this vehicle, I'll be able to go back here and look at that report or other reports from previous vehicles. And I can give some feedback, you know, if I like or dislike the software. So that covers this first option here. I can go into maintenance. These are all the things that the the scanner can do as far as service procedures, like ABS bleeding, for example, or the adaptive front lighting system, or brake pad reset, and on and on and on. There's quite a few things that this thing will do. Gateway module, data calibration, tons of stuff. Anyway, we looked at the upgrade screen, or we looked at a version of upgrade. So I can upgrade the vehicle diagnostic, I can do the maintenance software, or I can do the application itself. This is just another way. One of the things about this tool that I've noticed is that there are a bunch of ways to get to the same thing, and I actually like that. Also have more over here, and what more is information and that type stuff that doesn't fit anywhere else. One of the things that I do like here is this OBD fault code library. For example, if my car throws a, I don't know, a P0420. Ooh, that's a P042D. P0420. Search. So that will be a catalytic converter code. So you can quickly go and grab information about that, and it'll also give you a little bit of information about what could be at fault there, what to look for. So that's pretty neat. I have a coverage list, and this is also available, I believe, on their website. So if I have a passenger vehicle and B, oh, actually, this is an F, isn't it? Ford, and I do Bronco Sport, and I do a 2022. And these are the things that are supported, like all-terrain module control, all-wheel drive. I won't bore you and read you all this, but 467 pages of things that are supported on this vehicle. So that's pretty nice. Let's back out of that. So this is where I told you earlier that it supports things like an oscilloscope or a TPMS. This is the interface where you can connect those devices if you buy them from ThinkCar. Gadget, so this is, for example, Google Chrome. I haven't seen any way to add more gadgets to this, but I can jump on Google Chrome if I have like a subscription to Mitchell or AllData or something like that, then I can, go to the site and I can work back and forth, between here and the Thinkscan software. So we'll go back out of this, back from gadget. This will be the remote assistance. So if you have something going wrong with the tool, you can ask for assistance. And this is basically just all of the things we just talked about, except in tiles. Let's see, is there anything else? Anytime you go into one of these up here, you have this button here that you can hit. And yeah, got it. Yep, got it. Yep, got it. Yep, got it. You can go through and select things, in a different way, rather than having to scroll through this list and look at just this, like, well, what is that for? I have no idea. You could actually go here. Yeah. Boy, it really wants me to sort this. Got it. Don't prompt again. Yay. Anyway, I could go through and say, oh, that thing was the electronic throttle adaptation. So another way to get into it. Again, this tool has a lot of different ways to get into things, and I really do like that. Let me see if there's anything else here that's interesting that we haven't looked at. I don't think there really is. No, I think we've looked at pretty much everything here. I guess it's time to scan the car and let's see what it does. So I've already got my, my VCI connected to the car, and I'm just going to turn the ignition to the on position because that's what it's going to want in order to scan it. All right, let's do some scanning. So I'm just going to hit the VIN button here, and this thing's going to automatically scan the vehicle, and that pretty much the matrix going on in the background there. You'll see my screen recording going on here because I'm recording it so I can hopefully overlay it on this video. Maybe that'll work out. It's found the VIN, Ford 22 Bronco. Yay. Okay, so I can manually select something. I can manually reset service, test descriptions about Fords, how to do various tests. But I'm just going to automatically search here because I want to basically scan the thing. So ignition switch is already on, so I'll hit OK. And it's asking, is this information correct? And it is the correct thing, yeah. It scans pretty quick. I'm actually pretty happy about it. This vehicle has like a bazillion modules on board, and it runs through them pretty good. So at this point, once it's scanned the car, then it'll give you options to do things like ECU coding or special functions like, the headlight reset or whatever. Or you can select certain systems on board like powertrain control or body control or any of the other bajillion modules that are on there. I'm just going to do a health report real quick. I just want to see at a glance what's going on with this thing. I saw something in powertrain and side obstacle, both. So my check engine light is going to be because of a powertrain control module thing. So that's P0456 evap, very small leak. Huh. And I've got a B11D6 in the side obstacle detection. That's the driver display alert LED. And then I have a left front door external antenna. Interesting. Okay, so those are the codes. In this case, this PCM code is the reason for my check engine light. So at this point, I can go in and I can say clear fault memory. Yes. So that cleared that DTC. And the reason I cleared that DTC is pretty simple. Being a very small evap code, it's entirely possible that maybe somebody was fueling it up at the same time it was checking. Maybe they left the car running. I don't know. This is a pretty new vehicle with very few miles on it. So I'd be surprised if it actually has a true evap leak. But if that code comes back, then I know we start smoking the thing and figuring out where that leak is. Another thing that's handy about a scan tool, you can check and see if it's an anomaly or if it's real. Probably going to be real, but it's worth a check. All right, let's look at a few other things it can do. For example, actuation tests. Things like turning on the AC compressor, oil pressure control, raise it and lower it, evap purge, fan speed. I mean, there are tons and tons of things that we can do from one of these scanners. Also, we can go back and we can go into the body control module. And I can go into actuation tests for that. Like, for example, the horn relay. I could actuate that, but well, I want to be able to still hear. Things like that. So there's a lot of things that you can do in here. Just wanted to kind of illustrate that. But either way, that's got what I wanted to do at least done. So now that I am done with that, I can just start to back out and end my diagnostic session. It's going to tell me not to forget my VCI because that is something that it's easy to do if you're not in the vehicle doing your tests. You can just drive off with that thing still plugged in. So I'll get that in a minute. I'll actually forget about that in a minute and remember it next week sometime. On the screen recorder, you can go down to settings, and I think it is quick connect. I think you click on screen recorder. Yeah, there are all of our all the things that we've recorded there, so you can actually click those and play them back, or in my case I'll hook it to my laptop and download them, so I can hopefully overlay some of that on the screen for you guys. So that is the basic overview of this scan tool. So if you guys think you could make use of one of these things, I'm going to leave a product link down in the description to Amazon where you can find this thing. I'll also leave all the other pertinent information about this down there at the same time. So guys, I appreciate you watching this video. If you haven't already, please do take a second and say hi down in the comments below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And guys, I'll see you next time right here on Project Time Garage.